But first, 2020, as you may recall, was going to be the year of Maine's big bicentennial celebration. The state did indeed turn 200 that year, but most of the celebrations and special events got scrapped because of COVID.
Now, a show that was meant to be part of the bicentennial is open to the public. A bit late, to be sure, but perhaps more interesting than ever. If you want to understand Maine art over the past 2+ centuries, you'll want to know about William Wegman and the captivating photographs he has taken of his Weimaranas at his camp in the Rangeley Lakes. And you'll also want to know about Jonathan Fisher, who lived in this house in Blue Hill and painted this work called A Morning View of Blue Hill Village. Wegman and Fisher, two very different artists, both part of an exhibition at the Bowdoin College Museum of Art called At First Light, 2 Centuries of Artists in Maine.
When you start work on a project like this, you always have a vision, and then there's reality that collides with that vision sometimes. Did you end up with more or less what you wanted to create here?
We are very mindful of the fact that we are barely even skimming the surface in this exhibition. We have approximately 100 works on view, but in many ways this is a sampling, and we hope also a launching pad for future projects to really dig into the history of the visual arts in Maine.
Stroll through the exhibition and you'll see a wide variety of artistic styles. The curators had what might sound like an intimidating task, presenting 200 years worth of Maine art.
Rather than being daunting, it was just a lot of fun. It was like being a kid with their hand in the cookie jar, having an opportunity to do this show.
One thing that I assume made it a little bit easier is that for the first 50 or 75 years of Maine statehood, the art is pretty limited. There's just not all that much.
You know, I don't think I would necessarily make the same claim. We have...
You can just go out and say, no, Rob, you don't know what you're talking about.
The book that accompanies the exhibition shows the homes and studios where many artists worked. The pictures reinforce one of the themes, that Maine has an especially strong and distinctive sense of place.
One of the stories that seems to recur is something that is still with us today, and that is these artists would come to Maine, they'd spend maybe a summer here or 2 summers here, and they were hooked, and they'd be coming back for life. They just fell hard for the place.
Yeah, we deliberately included the birthplace of everybody who was in the exhibition because we wanted to show that Maine has been a destination for people from around the country, around the world even, and that many of these individuals, once here, had to come back, and in some cases had to spend the rest of their lives here.
There's an interesting aspect to this exhibition. Maine is a big state. You've got natural beauty that extends from one end to the other, and yet the artists, for the most part, stayed really close to the coast.
I think that reflects the fact that traditionally it was easiest to visit Maine by coming here by water. But I think you're right that there is something about a siren call of the ocean.
You think this is maybe going to change the way people view Maine, the way they think of Maine?
You know, I hope it does. You'll get to understand that the arts, take center stage in the history of this place. The arts are one of the things that makes Maine so special.
The exhibition shines a light on issues you might think are new, but have been part of Maine's balancing act for decades. Berenice Abbott's photo of a logging drive conveys the tension between the state's natural beauty and the demands of a modern economy.
Do you want people to come in here, think, talk, argue, debate? That's what you want to have happen, right?
Absolutely. Museums are not supposed to be quiet places. We are places that we want to provoke responses. We want to encourage conversation.
And Frank Goodyear specifically said that you will not be shushed if you're making noise during your conversation. Just to be clear, not all the works in the At First Light exhibition are in the At First Light book. Check them both out. They're both cool. And the exhibition is going to be at the Bowdoin College Museum of Art in Brunswick through November 6th. More information about it in the 207 section of our News Center Maine website or app.
Lots of good stuff, and I love knowing that Maine has such a big art scene.
Yeah, and has for centuries.
A long time.